is sad news. What do you make of this?
No, I think one, the project of the right is to make whiteness invisible again. I think the idea is that ever since George Floyd and even before that with Mike Brown and the Black Lives Matter movement, I think there has been a general kind of frustration with how much we've been talking about whiteness as a concept, as an identity. And I think that that's the thing that's animating a lot of this. White supremacy does not care about Black history. It simply cares about advancing its notion and its narrative about the supremacy of whiteness. And if Black history gets in the way of that, then it's against Black history. But it's really subsidiary. And so I think that's one thing that we have to really say and kind of hold on to and embrace. The other side of this, though, is that I kind of agree with Tamika Bradley Hobbs, who I think is very smart to say that there is a level of self-reliance and self-determination that actually gained us so many of our freedoms. It's the fact that the Black community came together to advocate for itself collectively in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s that got us here. And that ethic has to maintain. I mean, of course, there's so many people, Martin Luther King Jr. being one of them, who talks about how he feared that he may have integrated his people into a burning house. And I think that some of this is kind of at play that, like, do I even really want the person who teaches history in the ways that uplift these kind of white supremacist characters in Florida? Do I want them to teach my history? Like, do I actually want them to be in charge of the way in which I learn or my child learns the history of liberation that Black people have lived through? And so in some ways I agree. Now, at the same time, I think it's important to say that Black people pay taxes as well. Black tax dollars actually go to support these educational systems as well. And it's not just about Black people. It's just the fact that we are all paying into these tax systems. And so they actually do owe us representative education. And I think that's a part of it. So I think the fight should continue to go on, but it should not be limited to whether or not a public school teaches your history. You and your children should be learning your history as well. And I think this is a positive step.